Hey, welcome back, everyone. As you can see, we are in Blue Springs, Missouri, which is an eastern suburb of Kansas City, Missouri. So as usual, we're going to take a look at 3 properties in 3 different neighborhoods and in 3 different price range. That way you get a pretty good idea of what you're going to get based on your budget. So if this is the first time to your channel, you want to know everything about living in Blue Springs, Missouri, or any city in the metropolitan Kansas City area, then do us a favor and please subscribe down below and tap the bell icon for notifications so you're the first to know once we add new videos of any of the other cities in the Kansas City metropolitan area. My name is Fernando Marquez and I'm a licensed agent with United Kansas City. We get calls and emails from people like you all the time wanting to know about Kansas City, about the suburbs, about relocating to Kansas City, buying your first home, buying a piece of land to build your forever home. You can be upgrading, downsizing. It doesn't really matter to us. We just love talking about real estate, investing, and living. We're more than eager to spend time with you guys and explain the ins and outs, especially of Kansas City and the surrounding suburbs. It doesn't matter to us whether you're just looking for information or you're looking to make a move in the next week, the next month, the next 6 months, or a year. We're definitely passionate about real estate in Kansas City, Missouri. So give us a call, shoot us a text, send us an email, or best of all, set up a Zoom call. That way we can meet face to face, we can share information, and definitely reach out to us, let us know. All the information is going to be in the description below. We look forward to hearing from you and being able to assist you in your next purchase or selling of your property. Before we jump into those properties, as usual, we're going to take a look at the Google map so you can get an idea of where Blue Springs is in relation to the rest of the Kansas City metropolitan area. We'll take a look at the highway system around there, some shopping, entertainment, outdoor activities. And on this particular one, we're going to show you a property that we helped a couple relocate from Southern California to Blue Springs, Missouri. So that's always really nice. So you guys get a pretty good idea of the process and things of that nature, because we get a lot of people looking to relocate as well as buying first-time homes. So definitely don't want to miss any of that information, so stick with us to the end. Para toda mi comunidad que prefiere hablar en español, estamos aquí para servirle a ustedes. En este video estamos en Blue Springs, Missouri. Por favor, comunícase con nosotros con cualquier información que ustedes necesitan con este condado o cualquier otro condado en la área de Kansas City o la área metropolitana. Puede ser en el lado de Kansas, el lado de Missouri, cualquier condado, cualquier ciudad. So let's go ahead and jump into the Google Map review and we'll go from there. Okay, folks, as you can see here on the dotted line is the area of Blue Springs, Missouri. As you can see, this right here is on the easternmost part of the Kansas City metropolitan area. But let's go ahead and zoom out so you can get a better view. So here's Kansas City proper, downtown Kansas City. So slightly southeast of Kansas City is Blue Springs. Let's go ahead and look in here a little bit in more detail. Okay, so the main road, as you can see, is I-70, runs east to west across the United States. You also have 40 highway that runs almost right through the middle here, east to west. Same thing, north to south. You've got 7 highway. Over here, southwest, you have Blue Springs Lake, which is right over here. And over here, it connects into the bigger lake system, which is Lake Jacomo. You can see it's quite large. So there's tons of outdoor activities. If boating, fishing, being on the lake is your thing, you're pretty much covered over here. I mean, you could almost say that Blue Springs is not quite a lake town, but it's pretty darn close. Let's zoom in here a little bit. So as you can see, I've zoomed in a little bit here to I-70. I-70 is a big corridor. Obviously, it's an interstate highway. It runs across, so a lot of your shopping and restaurants and a lot of activities going to surround I-70. It's easy access in and out of Blue Springs, as well as getting over to Kansas City. One of the benefits of this area, like I've always mentioned before, we don't really have a lot of traffic, especially in comparison to what the kind of traffic that you would see in some of the larger cities. New York, LA, Miami, Chicago, Dallas, things like that. So you're pretty far east, so there's not going to be much traffic down here. So one of the benefits is it's quickly in and out of any place that you want to go to. This right here, you've got a lot of shopping and restaurants all up and down I-70, the same way as Highway 7 going north to south. So this will give you a pretty good idea of Blue Springs, Missouri and its relation to Kansas City. So let's go ahead and jump into our first property. Okay guys, we are at property number 1 here in Blue Springs. The subject property is right behind us. Lots of activity on this one, and I'll get into that in a second. Let's go ahead and take a look at the surrounding area first. So this is the property right in front of the subject property. This house has been refurbished as well. You can see the garage doors, the siding, the roof. You can see the trees, so that can tell you this is an older neighborhood. This is from like the late 70s, early 80s in that neighborhood. Look at the rest of the properties. They're similar in size and style. These are all basically like raised ranches, split levels. This is a very common build in this area. You know, for the Kansas City area, you can see the house next door is the same. It's a raised ranch with the garages on the bottom. That's just a straight ranch. So a lot of these houses have been refurbished. Some are rentals, but it's a solid neighborhood because, as I mentioned earlier, it's literally a block and a half away from the downtown, the older part of Blue Springs, and City Hall. So let's go ahead and get into this property a little bit. So here's the property. It's a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, just under 1,500 square feet. And it is listed for $189,000. Okay, so folks, this property right here, the reason I wanted to talk about it is that there's a lot of activity. You see people coming in and out. There's a bunch of cars, people waiting in line. The reason being is at this price point, this is a great buy in Blue Springs. This house is a value add play. So if you buy this property, you will be rehabbing it. It's dated. There's a lot of upgrades that needs to be done to this, but it's move-in ready. It's just everything's aged, it's older, it's been used as a rental for quite some time. So you're gonna wanna paint, maybe update the countertops, replace some items in the bathroom, things like that, everything that's a value add. So one of the things that we do is because we're also investors and flippers and rehabbers, so we can provide a lot of guidance in what to do in a value add play like this. This is a great property for someone that wants to purchase a property and add value little by little. So you can move into this property right now and then little by little make the updates as you go along without having to jump into a property. Let's say it's completely rehab like this, but instead of 189, it's probably going to be about 300 to 350, somewhere in that neighborhood. All right, so let's go ahead and move over to property number 2. Okay guys, we are here at property number 2 in Blue Springs. As you can see right here, I am standing in front of the subject property. But as usual, let's go ahead and take a look at the surrounding neighborhood. So this is the home directly across the street. You can see these are all going to be very similar. In this neighborhood, they're going to be about 3 to 4 bedrooms, 3 to 4 bathrooms. If you have a finished basement, you might get about 3,000 to 4,000 square feet. If not, you're probably going to be somewhere in the neighborhood of about 2 to 2,500, somewhere in that. They're all relatively the same build in early 90s, late 80s. And as you can see from this one right next door, on this side of the street, it's sort of like on a hill. So you basically have 3 levels and a walkout in the basement. And this is the house directly next to one house down the street from the subject property. This house over here has been refurbished as well. You can see over in the back, I had a chance to talk to this lady, and she was telling me a little bit about the neighborhood and the house. And that's why it's always good when you come to these places, if you see someone out there, go ahead and start talking to them, and that's what I do all the time. In this house, he was telling me how they built out that pool on a hill. So it's very interesting.
So as you keep going down the street, you can see it's a very quiet neighborhood. Look at the trees. This is a big deal when you look at the trees, because now you can imagine what it's going to look like once the trees are in full bloom, have all the leaves and everything, and it just looks really nice. This is a little bit looking up the street. Now you can see this massive tree over here on this property. Very nice, it's blooming already. So this neighborhood is well kept, it's very nice, it's very affordable. So let's go ahead and get into the subject property. Here's the subject house, 4-bedroom, 4-bath, almost 4,000 square feet. It ended up selling for $420,000. It was listed for $425,000. The reason I wanted to get into this one is because this house was sold to a client of mine, and we were able to negotiate this property down from $425,000 to $420,000. And what makes this one special is that this couple is relocating from Southern California to Kansas City. So if you can imagine the cost of living down there, the price of real estate, this house would be well over $1 million, well into over $1 million. And this house I ended up getting for $420,000, 4-bedroom, 4-bath, almost 4,000 square feet, completely refurbished, basement's completely done. So this is a huge win for this young couple relocating to Kansas City from California. So this is definitely some of the things that we specialize in. The other thing is that when you have a real estate agent that is also a flipper and an investor, they can look at properties like this, tell you where they ended up cutting corners, what they did good, what they didn't, what to look for, how to negotiate on something like this. So that's a lot of the value that we provide as agents. So let's go ahead and move on to property number 3. Okay guys, here we are at our last property number 3 in Blue Springs, Missouri. The subject property is right behind us, but as usual, let's take a look at the surrounding area and the properties around here before we get into the details on this one. This property is the property right in front of the subject property. As you can see, these are all going to be, this whole neighborhood's about from 2000. All relatively around the same. They're all 3-car garages, about 3 to 4 bedrooms, 3 to 4 baths, up to 3,000 square feet, all depending on if you've got the basement completely done. Up over here is a cul-de-sac. You see all the properties. There's a lot right next to the subject property that no doubt will be built out for something similar. So we're looking down the street over here. All the houses going down the street, relatively the same, reverse ranches, things of that nature. None of them are 2-story, or there's few and far between. I guess it depends on the land itself, whether it's flat or not. There's a 2-story. You go down the street, there's another cul-de-sac. See the property, and like I always talk about the trees, you see this is a new neighborhood, only in the last 4 years. No trees, you see these little tiny trees over here. So trees are kind of a big deal, at least they are for me and my customer base that has always mentioned it. So let's go ahead and dig into the subject property. So here is the subject property, 3-bedroom, 4-bath, right at about 3,000 square feet. It's a 2000 build. One thing that stands out here, and the reason why I wanted to come see this one, is because it's a 4-car garage. You hardly ever see that unless it's like a really high-end, expensive custom build, because most of these neighborhoods have HOAs, and so everything's maintained somewhat similar. So this is really nice. The flooring in this place is phenomenal. Let's look at the side of the property. They've got a lot of outdoor living space over here. It looks really nice. It's really impressive. You can see over here, here's the side, and it is a corner lot itself, which makes it pretty cool. A lot of space in this property. Look at the decking, the pavers, so on and so forth. It's a lot of room outdoors, a lot of outdoor space. The yard itself is not quite large, but the area was used pretty darn good in terms of putting the deck, the patio, so on and so forth. Okay, folks, so here is the subject property. So let's go ahead and wrap up. This is our last property that we're looking at in Blue Springs, Missouri. 3-bedroom, 4-bath, right at around 3,000 square feet. This property is listed at 575,000. So it's a great property on the upper end, great neighborhood, subdivision, close to highways, just like we had mentioned before. Appreciate you guys following on these 3 property tours.
So as I mentioned before, we're in Blue Springs, Missouri, which is a suburb of Kansas City, Missouri. Me personally, I've been in Kansas City since it's going to be 38 years here on April 5th. So I've been here a long time. I've seen a lot of growth over that time. Really exciting, especially now since there's a lot going on in downtown Kansas City, especially with the baseball stadium moving into downtown. There's a lot of growth, which is a good thing. So the other aspect is I'm also a real estate investor and have been for almost 8 years. So if you're looking to buy a value add property, a property that needs some sweat equity, we've got a lot of experience on there, be able to provide some guidance on the things to do, what not to do, what's going to add the most value for your property. In that area, we've got you covered. Unlike most real estate agents, we don't just do brokerage work, but we do and help a lot with investors in trying to come into this area and build your real estate portfolio with rentals. So don't hesitate to reach out to us. Like I said, phone call, text, email, or Zoom call. A todas mis personas que prefieren hablar en español, estamos aquí para servirle a ustedes. Como les platiqué al principio del video, podemos asistirle a ustedes en comprando una casa o vendiendo una casa. Y no tiene que ser solamente en Blue Springs, Missouri, pero puede ser en cualquier área de la área metropolitana de Kansas City, Missouri. Puede ser en el lado de Missouri o el lado de Kansas. So, no duden en comunicarse con nosotros. Los puede pasar un texto, un correo electrónico, una llamada o hacer una llamada tipo Zoom en donde los podemos ver a través de la cámara. Muchas gracias.